So I was doing this for a year and a half, I think. And this is what actually helped me to build a portfolio. Because these people actually, like, it was funny that like they didn't really check my knowledge of data science. I did know something. I did not have like a very, how to say, solid background. I did not have a portfolio.
Hey everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening whenever you're watching this video. Today we have Alex with us. So he's founder at DataTalk.Club and he's a seasoned data scientist. He had a very quick stint at various of good companies such Metrics, Simplex, and even OLX Group. Very thank you so much and a warm welcome, Alex. Thank you so much for accepting this invitation and doing this for us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Thank you, Alex. Let's start with your current experience. So you are founder at DataTalks.Club. So what actually you are doing there?
So DataTalk.Club is a community of people who love data, which includes data scientists, ML engineers, people who like MLOps, data engineers, everyone who likes or wants to work with data or already works with data. And as a founder, I do pretty much everything there. And in this community, we have different activities like, well, first of all, there is the center of the community is the Slack workspace, where you can ask and answer questions. And one of the things I'm doing there is moderating this, because like there is always spam, there is like there are people who send promotions in direct messages, and then I have to make sure this does not happen. Then we have a bunch of events, bunch of activities. Like there are too many of them. I'll just probably tell you about the main ones. Like we have workshops, webinars, podcast interviews, courses, I know, different projects, competitions, and as a founder or as somebody who is running the community, I need to organize that. Of course, I don't do this alone. There is actually a team behind the community. So in addition to me, there is Francis, who is the community manager, and Valeria, who is our content manager. So the three of us, we make sure that all these activities happen. Yeah, I don't know what else you want to know about this, because I can talk about this for hours.
So I have seen you have been hosting ML Zoom Camp. So I have seen that through your LinkedIn post, and for sure, many of our audience who can follow us on your LinkedIn might join your webinars and workshops in future, for sure. Yeah. So let's talk about your history first. So from your LinkedIn, I got to know that somewhere near about 2006 to 2011, you were doing bachelor's in English teacher as well. And at the same time, simultaneously, you were doing in information technology. So how this is possible? 2 degrees at the same time?
Yeah, 2 degrees, yeah. So when I was doing my bachelor, the main bachelor in information technologies, and there was also an option to enroll in a different one. And
okay.
Yeah, so as a student, I was offered that. I thought, oh, it's cool. So if I do this, if I do the second degree, then I don't need to attend my English classes in my main degree. So how about I do that? Yeah. Of course, in total, it was a lot more work. So like I had a lot of English, a lot of pedagogical classes, because like as a teacher, you need to know how to teach kids. It was for like a English teacher for school kids. And it was a lot of fun. So it was very difficult at times. But, you know, as a student, I remember I had to sometimes prioritize things and focus on what is more interesting for me and drop things that are less interesting to me. And by dropping, I mean, maybe just get a mark that is okay to pass the subject, right? And it often happened with the English degree. Because like there were things that at the time I did not appreciate, but now I kind of wished I actually did invest more time in that. But yeah, I don't know if I answered your question, but yeah, it was. I also did not work, so I know, like in Russia, it's quite typical that during the bachelor times when you study, many people start working also at the same time. I did not work, so I could focus. I could focus my time. I could focus my energy on getting the second degree.
Yeah.
Which was
Okay.
very actually helpful.
Yeah. Here in India, it is very typical that people who are doing bachelors will not work. They
Mhm.
might do internship for 2 or 3 months, but typically they don't work and they focus more on studies, just like you. So yeah. And then in 2013 to 15, I guess you did the masters in business intelligence, and then
Yeah.
I think you entirely switched from software engineering to data scientist profile. So what was going through in your mind at that phase of your time, and why you completely switched to some another profile?
I wouldn't say completely.
Yeah.
It's more. Well, I'll start from the beginning. So I was like, after graduating from my bachelor, I worked as a Java developer for some time. So I relocated to Europe. I was in Poland, and I was working in a bank as a Java developer. And back then, to me, it kind of sounded cool to work in a bank. But the actual job was quite boring. So what we were doing is collecting some data from these exchanges, like I don't know, where you can trade shares. So we collected all this data. It was a lot of data. And then we processed this data and we put this data into a very, very old IBM system from, I don't know, 80s.
Oh.
And yeah, it wasn't as exciting as it sounded. Like it was a lot of legacy code that we needed to maintain, a lot of bugs that I needed to fix. And I thought like it was so cool studying in university because I could do all this, learn all this mathematics, do all these fun, interesting labs. And yeah, and the work is very different from that. But then I accidentally came across a course in Coursera. It was about machine learning. And I thought, wait, it's like the math I wanted to have, but like something I can actually use at work. How about I learn more about that? And so I did. I took this machine learning class. I took a few more classes, and I thought, okay, like this is definitely what I want to do for a living. This is what I want to focus on. And I started thinking like how I, as a Java developer, can switch and do this full time, right? And back then, it was 2013, right? Back then, data science just appeared. Like it wasn't really a thing. Companies had no idea what they wanted. And many of them, when I interviewed with them, they told me, okay, you're a Java developer, you took a few online courses, but all of our people have PhD in physics or mathematics or something, and you don't have a PhD. Like, how about you first get a PhD and then we talk, right? And I thought, like, okay, I don't even have a master's. Like, what are you talking about? And then I thought, okay, like, let's do a master's. And yeah, I found this master's program in Europe. It was fun that I needed to study in different universities. So first it was a university in Brussels, then some university in a small town in France, and then I could choose between Berlin, Barcelona, and Paris, right? And it was about business intelligence. And back then I had no idea that business intelligence has nothing to do with data science, but it kind of looked related. So I thought, let me do that. So I did that. There were, of course, some subjects that were related, like data mining, which is essentially very similar to data science these days. I had to do a lot of self-study though, because later I realized that, okay, now I'm learning about data warehousing, I'm learning about, I don't know, all these things, like how to create, like about databases, internals of databases, and all these things, but they are not super related to data science. So I needed to study a lot on my own. And then this is when I thought, okay, I actually need to get some practical experience because like just studying is not enough. And this is how I came across a freelancing job. And I don't know, maybe this is something you want to know more about, because this is what really helped me to actually transition from being a Java developer to a data scientist. University, the master's degree was helpful, but I could have done this without actually spending 2 years at university.
Correct. So you were saying you might have skipped those years for masters, and you could have directly jumped on to freelancing and then.
Yeah, if I wanted to focus solely on the career, because these 2 years actually at the end were quite fun. I had to travel around Europe. I made a lot of friends. I saw a lot of places. So it was fun. It was not, wasted time. It was a really good time. But career-wise, I could have made it more effective, let's say, right? So I could have started my career earlier, and then maybe the career progression would have looked differently for me. Yeah.
Still, you are a legend, man. So let's talk about if someone really want to jump into freelancing as a data scientist. What should be a guideline from your side?
Yeah, well, what I did was, all these websites like, I'm trying to remember. So back then it was called Odesk or Elance. Right now I think it's called differently. But like there are these freelance marketplaces, like for example Fiverr, right? Where you can say, okay, I'm a data scientist. This is kind of things I specialize in. And then people who need data scientists for a short-term project, they go to these websites, they find somebody, and then they hire you, right? So there are many websites like that, at least 3, maybe 4. Like Topcoder is another example, or I don't know, there's a bunch of them. Yeah. So what I did is just doing work on these websites. I was in a way lucky, because like this sitting on these websites and waiting when somebody approaches you, it takes some time. So I was lucky to find some sort of a manager. So this manager would actually talk to clients and then just give me the projects. So he would actually coordinate 10, 15 freelancers. So he would only do customer outreach, right? So he would talk to the clients and then I would do the job. So at the end for me, it was less money because he takes a cut, right? But I could solely focus on the work part, right? On delivering the projects instead of doing all this, finding clients, bargaining with them, like all that stuff. And he already had a pool of clients, right? I don't have a suggestion like how to exactly find this manager. I just got lucky to find him. But sometimes I think I found him on another freelance marketplace. So he was actually offering a job. Like, hey, I have a bunch of projects. I need a freelancer for these projects. And then this is how I found him. So maybe this is what you can do too. But you don't have to have a manager to start freelancing. You can just create a profile on one of those websites and start getting some requests. Like at the beginning, it will be not a lot of money. You need to work on your reputation, I guess, like to get some testimonials from the clients. But then it gets easier. So I was doing this for 1.5 years, I think. And this is what actually helped me to build a portfolio. Because these people actually, it was funny that they didn't really check my knowledge of data science. I did know something. I did not have a very, solid background. I did not have a portfolio. I just did some courses. Yeah. And then they were fine with that. Okay, they said, yeah, we seem to be good. Java. So you know how to program. They asked me a few things. Then, okay, it's fine. Right. So, and then because at the end, when you just need to deliver something, you will find a way to do this. Yeah. Right. And this is the beauty of freelancing, because at air quote proper job, you would need to go through all this interviews through the interview process, which can be lengthy and complex, and they might ask you about your past projects. And if you don't have these past projects, chances that you'll be hired are pretty low, right? For freelancing, the bar is lower. The pay is also could be lower at the beginning, but you'll get to work on different projects, right? You'll get to build this portfolio and you'll get to get some money too, right? And for me, I was already a student. I was getting some scholarship. I had some money from my Java developer days. So I could actually, for me, it was a good side income. Alone, it would not be enough, I think, to actually survive. But as a side income, it was good. Yeah. So if you're a student and, or maybe you have some money, well, you already have a job. So maybe just doing this freelancing could be a nice, trampoline, like something that you can use to transition to the area where you want to work in, for example, data science.
Correct. So one of the learning which I can figure it out is in the very beginning of your freelancing career, you focused much towards work and less towards money, so that you can build your profile and then you can have a career. Yeah.
Correct.
That's. So since you are a very seasoned data scientist, can you vaguely tell us or tell our audience, so how you had a very good stint at OLX Group, and you were there last year as a principal data scientist. So how you would have identified a real world problem, and then how you convert that real world problem to an ML problem statement, and then how you solve it. So what is the right mindset to do the entire process?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question, because like this is where, for many people without experience, it's not clear where the problems come from, right? So if you think about Kaggle competition, like you go to Kaggle and there is already a data set, right? There's already a metric you need to improve. And then you just train a machine learning model, you get this model, you submit your predictions, right? And then you have some score.
Everything is given there.
Yeah, everything is given there. But in real life, you as a data scientist, especially as you become more senior, you need to get this vague description from somebody, description of problem, and you need to convert it somehow into a real life problem. And usually, in my experience, there are, let's say, two sources. So let's say you have this pool of projects that you want to work on, right? And these projects come from different places. Usually there are two main sources. First source is you proactively look for problems yourself. And second, people come to you with their problems, right? I will probably talk about the second one, when people come to you, because it's a little bit more involved. So here, usually there are product managers in companies like OLX and others. So these are the people who are sort of between the users and the development team. And they work with requirements, they talk to users, they try to understand what the team should actually work on to be useful, such that what the team builds is actually used by the users at the end, right? So these people know the main struggles of the users of your platform, and they can see that there are some areas that could be improved. Like I think it's a little bit abstract. So if I talk about OLX, so OLX, for those who don't know, is an online marketplace. So let's say if you want to sell your iPhone or your car or whatever, you go to OLX and you create a listing and you take a few pictures of the thing you want to sell, like you put in description and then you sell, right? And there are many ways that you can improve this process with machine learning. So for example, we product managers can see that many users start filling the application but do not finish, right? And then they can think, okay, what is the reason they do not do this? And one of the things that one of the obstacles they can identify is like selecting the right category, for example, right? So, because like there are thousands of categories, or Like there are many categories, like how do you select the right one? And one idea could be there, like how about using pictures and the title that the user already provided to automatically suggest the category, right? And then this is a machine learning problem. But they might not know exactly. They just heard, okay, there's this thing called AI that can help us. So then they go to the team that is responsible for this posting flow or whatever, like, or maybe they go to the head of data science or I don't know, director of data science. And then they say, okay, we have this problem and we think that AI and machine learning, whatever, can help us. Let's work together on figuring this out. And then this is when, for example, I or some other more senior person would talk to this product manager to really figure out what they want, right? So what is the problem that users have? How can we solve it? Should we use machine learning at all? Because there could be problems that do not really require machine learning. So in this particular case, I used an example of automatically identifying the category. So this is where machine learning actually is needed, because you can use the title and the picture to build a model for classifying this title and picture into one of the categories, right? So then you start talking with this product manager, getting more requirements from them, understanding how exactly this model, if we decide to build something, will be used. And then the important thing here is understanding how we are going to measure the success of this thing. Like, I don't know, for example, we want to improve the number of completed finished listings from, I don't know, 30% to 40%. I just made up these numbers, so I don't remember what the numbers there. So there should be some number, right, that we want to track. And then data scientists start working on this problem. They get the data. They create first something very simple, a very simple baseline. And then the idea here is to iterate as quickly as possible to see if we can actually improve this number. So this is a very important thing. So maybe, and then, yeah, once you have this, you can start working on more and more complex models. So maybe if I summarize that, so first, product manager comes to you, you discuss the requirements, you define the objective that you want to optimize. And even before defining the objective, or at the same time, you think like, do we really need machine learning or not for solving this problem? How can we solve this problem without machine learning? And then if there is no way to solve this without machine learning, you can think of a simple baseline, then you implement this and you iterate. That's probably more than you asked, but I hope it was still useful.
It's okay. Yeah. So in India, people love it when you get more for free. So okay, yeah, no problem. So I was going through your Google Scholar profile as well, and I was surprised. I should not have, because you are too good to be true. So I got that you have a paper which was basically from NeurIPS competitions, where you were winner of one of the competition. So, and I'm also sure that you must have hired many people for various of ML roles in your past, right? So one thing is, as a hiring manager, what is your viewpoint towards a candidate who has actually worked on real world machine learning problems versus a candidate who has worked towards ML competitions? So which one will you prefer, or it doesn't make sense to give any kind of priority to both these candidates, and just based on their knowledge and based on their interviews you decide?
It really depends. I mean, generally, I would say people with real life commercial experience would be preferred to people who just did competitions. But again, it depends, because, for example, what if I need to hire somebody to work on e-commerce data, right? And then I have two people, one with real life experience in a different domain, and the other who has done a few competitions in e-commerce domain, right? And then like, okay, maybe the one that took part in competitions is actually more fit, more suitable for the role, right? And then it's just, there are so many other factors, like how good they are in coding, how good they are at, I don't know, communication, how good they are with words, all these things, or test case, right? So there are a million other factors. But if we fix all them, and let's say there are two identical candidates, except one has 1 year of commercial experience and the other does not, but has extensively, that candidate took part extensively in data science competitions, I will go with the first one, right?
Yeah.
Well, people will hate me when I say that, but I think they are not important at all.
Okay.
I mean, it's fun to learn that,